But just kind of bringing together what you've been saying, it strikes me that there are some things that seem to emerge out of that. So one of those is the fact that there are specific groups or kind of diversity issues that we may well not have covered as well as we might have done. And by that I would include the groups of people with learning disabilities, people with young onset dementia, and also people with cultural diversity in terms of perhaps language and how we deal with that within the sorts of training that we provide, but also in terms of how that is provided for all of the training that we might provide, how we ensure that those things are addressed. And some of those might have quite specific responses, for example, for people with learning disabilities, and some may be spread over a wide space. So there is something about the fact that much of what we have done might be seen as having a kind of a majority older person with dementia focus, and maybe we need to take a step back and ensure that we are covering off all the bases. So that's, I think, one set of things. I was also very taken by the suggestion that if we were able to do something imaginative with people with dementia and carers and their experiences, to enable that to influence in a kind of more systematic way, rather than in the ad hoc way that we have at the moment, practitioners that are in practice, then that could be something quite remarkable that we'd be able to do here. Now, we've started doing something like it in Time for Dementia, and that's quite interesting because that gives us a model. So there are questions, I think, about how we might take that forward, and I think that's a really exciting set of ideas. Not to say that the others aren't exciting, but I think that is a really exciting potential thing that we can do, particularly if we're framing it in terms of how we provide better education and training that has a human face and a human set of experiences, of lived experiences, as we said, within that. And I think that's really interesting. I think that there are legitimate questions about how, if we are doing something quite well in one area, perhaps that has been sparked by this programme, so Time for Dementia not happening at the nursing schools in Kent, for example, not happening at the nursing schools in Sussex either. And happening at the only medical school that we've got, but not happening elsewhere. It would be important to start thinking about how we might roll that out and how full an evidence base we need in order to be able to roll that out, because we're already getting some quite positive feedback here. So that was one example, but also there's the possibility that the Dementia Fellowship programme that we've done might be of value to other groups like those who commission services. And we could be more specific about going out and providing that to commissioners, or perhaps to more senior managers within general hospitals, within CCGs, within other settings, and perhaps that would be a useful thing to do. So that's something that we need to think about. And a third thing that has been developed locally that is happening is the golden ticket that one of the groups mentioned as well, in terms of, well, if that thing is a good idea, if it's a good idea to be able to make a promise to people with dementia once they're diagnosed, then do we want to try that in more than just High Weald and Lewis? Is that something, or do we have to create a different programme in each of our CCGs, which again comes back to this idea about the CCGs potentially learning from each other as well? Or is it possible to accept that something seems to be quite a good idea and then to get on with providing it? So I will have missed out other things there, but those are things that particularly struck me, along with the pathways to diagnosis bit, something about those people, about how people seek help. That might be more complicated in some ways. It really falls into the world of public and professional attitudes and understanding, rather than necessarily training, but it's certainly something to think about. So what I'd like to do is to thank you all. It's been a really stimulating day, and I've really enjoyed hearing the presentations of, as I said, what we have done, what we are doing, and having a really good start to thinking about what we will do in the next 2 years as well. So thank you very much for contributing.